pace car will take a hard left turn now. And they will face the green flag for 200 laps, 500 miles to start the 2024 season. Green flag, the Daytona 500 is underway. Still building speed in the back straightaway.
Can't be iffy in these decisions, Kevin. That spotter says clear up, you better be there.
Oh, crash! Two cars slam together, and Harrison Burton takes a wild ride through the grass and up into more traffic, gets tagged, turned around, and 5 cars are in it. Ryan Preece.
I think he missed that inside wall. Harrison Burton, big damage on the 21 car.
And Carson Hocevar, the rookie, gets taken out into that very, very wet grass in the ball field. Well, the Wood brothers trying for their 100th ever NASCAR win, and Harrison Burton gets tagged and sent.
Well, this is exactly what you don't want to see happen. Something early in this race where everybody's trying to race hard, and we just talked about those guys going to that third lane, and it puts those guys in the middle lane in a bad spot with the handling of their cars that they hadn't really been in. Let's see what happened, Clint.
Watch the 21, Harrison Burton.
Okay, you see Harrison Burton in the middle of that 3-wide conversation we're talking about, and we are also talking about John Hunter Nemechek kind of being iffy on his move.
Now the 42, John Hunter Nemechek on the outside of Burton. The green and white car, and Brad Keselowski and he make contact.
Keselowski got to his rear bumper, just took a little bit of a love tap, turned him sideways, kind of looked to me like he was on the left corner of that bumper, turned him right down into Harrison Burton.
Well, and it's just what we were talking about, Clint, with everybody trying to feel out exactly what their cars were doing, and those guys in the middle didn't have anything to do with the handling. So, you know, you see Brad into the back. Oh, yeah, you're exactly right, Clint. The 42 car of John Hunter Nemechek just got up a little higher. Brad was probably trying to stay square and being pushed by the guy behind him, and they just got a little bit offset right there.
Pace car is in. We begin lap 12. Burton and Grala's cars both removed to the garage. I believe everybody else was able to continue.
Well, that's either going to be a wake-up call for everybody and this is going to calm down, or that's just going to set the tone for this whole race with chaos and pushing and shoving. We know we're going to see pushing and shoving, but with that third line, that was a bit of a surprise that early for me.
And now Joey Logano's pulling that outside lane back to the front again.
Now we have a race. Now you can see everybody turn them horses loose and going for it. Logano, big runs on the outside off his teammate Cindric behind him. Now you see 3 Penske cars on the outside of Blaney pulling up.
4 Fords out front, then Christopher Bell's Toyota, then Daniel Hemrick's Chevrolet. 3 Penske cars and Michael McDowell kind of fulfilling the preseason prophecy of how those Fords have speed and run well together at Daytona. This group's lap times are not as fast as the group led by Kyle Busch in 8, the Chevys, or Joey Logano in 22. They are pulling away from the leaders.
They're running 50% throttle, though. I'm hearing they're trying to make it, trying to stretch his fuel as far as possible.
The points earned in each stage, 10 through 1 for the first 10 finishers. They carry with you all through the season. Some of these teams are counting points beginning right now.
How about this? Byron moved up to go around him. Busch made a block, separated those Hendrick cars. Now Chase Elliott to the lead. Final lap of the stage.
Lap car slow on the bottom. Chase Elliott trying to bring them around and pick up the stage win after a truly disappointing 2023. Kyle Larson, teammate to Chase Elliott. Will he ride with him? Will he try to grab those 10 points and the stage ticket for himself?
We see Ross Chastain coming to the back bumper of the 5
car. Gonna see a push, gonna see momentum. Watch his 5 going to the outside of Chase Elliott.
That's what it took. Now Chastain
by Chase. I think the wing goes to Chase Elliott. Fantastic.
Stage.
Chase Elliott gets his second stage win in the Daytona 500.
It is a little bit weird.
Front row with Kyle Larson. Big crowd on hand for the 500 and the 300-mile Xfinity race that will follow tonight. Back under green, stage 2.
Huge run on the outside, 3 wide. I was trying to get it out of you. How about Joey Logano off the bumper of Chase Briscoe in that 14 car? Warrior going to the front and doing it in a hurry.
And right with them is the 51 of Justin Haley, who finished 10th in the class. That's the 51. Haley said, that gave us a lot of hope coming to Daytona. Hey, we beat teams that have more employees and more square footage in their gift shop than we have in our race shop.
You see him to the back, but let me tell you, who is the benefactor of that? Talked about Kyle Busch having that trouble on pit road penalty. He's back to the front. Logano took that thing up. Busch moved, and Priest, by the way, he had to pit at the end. 25 spots Kyle Busch gained, 23 on Priest. Huge gains by them, passing the whole field on the outside with Logano towing that line.
Well, we see Todd Gilliland slid up in front of the other 2 Fords. First, the second one of Joey Logano there, but now Todd Gilliland is the leader on that outside line and left only 5 cars in the bottom.
Well, I think that's what Truex wanted. He's got a teammate, an ally, if you will, and Reddick behind him. Let's see if those 2 Toyotas can do good. But Logano pushing on that Gilliland on the outside is going to help that line big time.
Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece up in front of Todd Gilliland, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. A lot of jostling side to side. Whoa.
A lot of hands out right there. Ryan Preece, he's wanting down. I think they're wanting to pit. He's trying to get down, got his hand out the window. Bubba Wallace, no can do.
Well, we saw the 38, the 22, and the 23 of Bubba Wallace and 8 of Kyle Busch. Everybody worked themselves down a couple laps ago, anticipating coming to pit road.
Not this lap.
This time.
Well, and that's the reason I make that point is because Ryan Blaney and Ryan Preece in the 41 and the 12 in the outside lane, there's really nowhere for them to go right now unless somebody makes a hole. And they know it's coming up, so they got to get themselves in position without losing a bunch of spots.
20 cars come in, and around goes one of them as John Hunter Nemechek tried to force the issue on Josh Berry.
Josh Berry needed to get down. Hunter was already there, turned him right around.
That's okay. They'll fuel it facing the other way.
I just saw a teammate right there. You saw Logano coming up on the outside. That 3-car, Austin Dillon pulled up and made a block. Kyle Busch is in the lead of that thing. 3-car, several laps down, pulled up and made a block. That's teamwork right there.
Well, this is what you want. There you go. Austin Cindric pull up. That's his job. His job is to pull up and try to disrupt that line as much as possible to slow everything down. Joey Logano's coming behind Austin Cindric. He gets behind his teammate. Kyle Busch is all messed up because William Byron is up the racetrack and they have slowed the whole pack down, and now they're right in the middle of it towards the front.
Kyle Busch has now led 337 laps in the 500, more than any other driver who has not been to victory lane.
We had him on the pre-race yesterday, and you could, oh wow, big hit by William Byron.
That hit came all the way from Allmendinger in the 16.
A lot of energy behind him, but you could just feel it, Kevin, when he was talking to us. The sense of urgency for Kyle Busch in winning this race, it's very, very apparent.
Who just dropped to the bottom? Christopher Bell made a 3rd lane on the bottom, and he's got some help. Watch that yellow Camry trying to get to the front.
4 to go. It's time.
With Ricky Stenhouse, last year's 500 winner, right with him, as they have half a lap to go to complete stage 2.
Well, you see Daniel Suarez right here with this throttle percentage. What he's doing right there is checking up so he doesn't run into the back of the car in front of him, and that's the kind of momentum that they have right now, able to just run up there and ram that car if he didn't let off the throttle.
Battle for the stage win, battle to be the first car 1 lap down and get the free pass. That's Preece versus Gibbs as Cindric takes him into turn 3. Blaney to the bottom. He said he wasn't going to help his teammates. He didn't. He dropped to the bottom to try to win stage 2.
Great move by Cindric to move up before Busch got to his outside and get caught in the middle. That was a heads-up move by Cindric.
Champion Ryan Blaney. wins stage 2 from Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, and Tyler Reddick. It is Blaney's 3rd stage win in the Daytona 500. You're looking at Kyle Busch trying to limp onto pit road without losing his left front wheel, which has no retaining nut attached. Let's show you the pit stop and what led to this.
You see him, waved his hands, stop, stop, stop. Unfortunately, did not get that lug nut on.
Yeah, and that's a tough spot. That's a tough spot for the Jackman because he's thinking fast, fast, fast. But his responsibility is to make sure that both those wheel nuts are on.
But damage control, they got right on the radio to Kyle, told him, watch your speed, stay down, stay on the apron, keep that left front on at all cost to get back around here to pit road and get it replaced.
Which is a great job by Kyle Busch to drive that thing around 2.5 miles and keep that left front tire somehow, some way back on that vehicle.
So for the driver, when Josh Sobecki drops the jack, is that his signal to go?
100%. When that jack drops, you're dropping the clutch and flooring it and doing everything you can do to get out of the pit stall. So that responsibility is definitely on the jack guy when he drops the jack. And there's really, Kyle's looking in his mirror and he's got all kinds of things going on trying to make sure he doesn't hit anybody coming out of this pit box. Well, we saw some really tight moves there. We saw Denny Hamlin move up and we saw Corey LaJoie in the 7 car make a really tight squeeze there to get in front of Christopher Bell.
And he may get the lead.
Masterful class by Denny Hamlin. Up 19 spots from the back, meeting his teammates up front. He threw that car on his back and made some holes, made some moves, and got himself. You see him leading that middle of the lane.
But the interesting thing, the interesting thing, he drove up there, but the interesting thing is when they change lanes, how much it slows the lane down that they're going into.
Well, he told us that was the other thing, aggressive. That is his new approach. He said, forget him. I'm going to the front, and I'm going to do it by myself. I'm taking no prisoners.
Here comes Hamlin's number 11 with his former teammate at Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle Busch, right with him.
Well, you see the throttle percentages now, and that's not from saving gas. That's just for where you are in the pack and having to check up from hitting the guy in front of you. You see that bottom lane kind of accordion. Kyle Busch get way out there. Alex Bowman come right back to his bumper, but now he's got a gap. See the flames come out of the pipes right there from him lifting, not wanting to hit him in the tri-oval, because as we've seen, if you bump somebody too hard in the tri-oval where that car is light, it's going to spin out and cause a huge wreck.
Well, and that all started, and you nailed it. You were all over it. Kyle Busch got out too far. Cannot get too far back. It accordions your line. As soon as they get to you, they have to lift, and it stacks them up all the way back through the field. Efficiency of that line goes downhill.
Coming to 25 laps to go, Joey Logano, David Reagan, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, the front 4. No moves to pit road as yet. Down in the infield media center, Al Pierce of Auto Week covering his 55th Daytona 500. Al was here for Pete Hamilton's win for Petty Enterprises in 1970.
Well, we always talk about strength in numbers, Kevin, and you finally see all those Mustangs lined up on the bottom. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, and they definitely have strength in numbers right now, and they also have the shield to keep those guys on the outside from getting to the bottom when it's time to pit, because at some point they're going to have to pit here shortly.
We know that's coming, and that's a very good point. You see the Ford camp right there in your screen, folks. Got a good chain going.
Yep.
Getting up through the... But there is a huge pack behind them coming.
Logano, Keselowski, Reagan, Blaney, and more. If that outside lane stays open, they're just going to inhale this whole field because they are at speed.
You see all 3 groups right there connecting, merging in one.
Logano drops to the inside, trying to sniff a draft from the Toyotas ahead of him. Back to the outside.
Now Logano the outside. They can't get around.
Whoa! Keselowski gets turned by William Byron. Blaney gets caught up. Gilliland, Truex, Hamlin, and more.
All those Fords were struggling to get around Chastain. Who could get around and get that clean air track position first? That's what happened.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. I mean, it's a parking lot down there. Cars parked everywhere.
Blaney out. Big damage on him.
Toe link broke on the back. That one's done.
Keselowski all wadded up. Gilliland, the black and red car, right with him. Anthony Alfredo there.
Reddick, massive damage on him.
Thursday night winner Tyler Reddick. Martin Truex. Eric Jones comes to pit road. So does Kyle Larson. Denny Hamlin made it back to the pits. So did Chris Buescher.
Well,
a lot of damage.
It just always gets to this point. As you get to the end of the race, the pushes get harder. Everybody's just throwing caution to the wind to say, the heck with it. I'm going to the front. Martin Truex tore it. He's tore it bad right there.
Well, Chastain, I mean, I'd say he was a lone wolf up there. He was throwing blocks left and right, and they were making moves.
It was Alex Bowman with a push into William Byron that did not go well.
But it was the movement in front of them started stacking those guys up.
And you see Alex Bowman up the racetrack, and then they start zigging and zagging here. And
well, obviously, William Byron and Bowman, that's where it ended up. But the movement from the 6 and the 22, jockeying for position, trying to outduel one another to that position of passing Chastain, that's what stacked all those guys up and got them in trouble. Those guys were going for it. Chastain was holding them up. You saw the 6 go to the bottom. You saw the 22 go to the outside. The race was on, and unfortunately those guys behind him.
This gives you a much better view right there. You see the 24 car just being pushed, and sometimes you're not aligned, and you know you're not lifting, and that car gets to moving around, and you hope it works out, and it just didn't work out right here.
We saw this same scenario playing out at the duels the other night when Blaney got in a wreck. You really can't pin it on anybody. It's hard racing, everybody going for it, but when those cars move in front of them, it slows the energy down.
Oh my gosh. If that left rear quarter panel wasn't curved in a little bit, I mean, it went right with the curvature of the left rear quarter panel.
Ross Chastain and Brandon McReynolds did a phenomenal job of keeping those guys behind him. Had he slipped up one time and missed a block, he'd have been right in the middle of that.
So cars that were either undamaged or chose not to stop prior to pit road being opened are lined up here on the back straightaway. And as soon as the track is clean enough to resume competition, the yellow will come out, pit road will be opened, and they'll get serviced. Only one driver in the top 10 has been to Daytona 500 victory lane, and that's Austin Cindric. Ross Chastain won the last race of last year at Phoenix. Last person to do that and then win the 500, Jeff Gordon, 1998 to 99. 4 laps to go. We're back to green.
Huge pushes on that outside. They kept getting in one another, had to back off. Accordion effect, stacked them up. Everybody had to lift. Broke that line up big time.
Cindric tried the top. No, got back in line. Now Chastain has a push.
A lot of energy on this outside. Chastain, here he comes, Kevin.
Ross Chastain leading the outside lane.
1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank, and away they go. That is Cindric into Chastain and up into traffic.
Did they complete that lap?
Did the leader get the white flag?
This
Caution
could be
waving.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Austin Cindric going for a wild ride here, as did Ross Chastain.
You see the light on. You see Bowman ahead of Byron right there, but you need to back it up and see this again.
And we'll await a ruling from NASCAR. And the Daytona 500
Race winner will be the 24. We'll need the 24 to the start-finish line.
goes to victory lane. William Byron from Charlotte, North Carolina. Rudy Fugle, his crew chief.
You won? Yes, we won.
Unbelievable. 40 years to the day, Hendrick Motorsports goes 1-2 at the Daytona 500.
Oh, yeah, boys. Oh.
Byron's last win came at Texas in September. It's his 11th career win. Some of them pretty well bent up. Not this one. William Byron goes to capture the flag after an event-filled Daytona 500 in which he led only the final 4 laps.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.